Ifeso Hui, O'Mira's Orth, Canal Kerno.
Welcome to this week's Cornwall channel. You'll never guess who's behind the camera this week. It's only Tech Ed, he's back, he's working the camera. This week I'm introducing the show from here, the old A30. Now I don't know if any of you guys are like me and remember the old A30 when that iron bridge just up there was always rammed in the summer with gridlock. But now, no longer busy. This is a wonderful nature reserve. Coming up in this week's show, our friend Emlyn Harris brings us his feature about the Witch of Helston. Our friends at Visit Cornwall have a feature for us this week all about the North Coast. It's been a busy week for government ministers here in Cornwall. George Osborne and Ed Vaizey came down to Cornwall and visited St Austell Brewery and Nuco Training in Trevisco. Our music comes from Charlie Wingfield this week, and it's the first time we've played him out on the programme, so we're absolutely delighted to have him on the show. As always, we love to hear from you, so please get in contact with us on our Facebook page, Twitter, and indeed our website, cornwallchannel.co.uk. I'm going to have a wander around this wonderful nature reserve, and I'll see you next week. Enjoy the show.
In the 19th century, Helston was a town of assured importance and one of the most populous towns in the hundred of Penwith, its wealth evident in its fine Georgian and Victorian architecture. Number 56 Coinage Hall Street is a substantial townhouse situated in one of Helston's main thoroughfares. In the early 1850s, this house became the home of one of Helston's most infamous characters, the woman known far and wide as the Witch of the West, Tammy Blee. Thomasine Tammy Williams was christened at Gwenup Church near Redruth on the 4th of August 1793. Little is known of her childhood, but the surrounding parish is situated in the centre of the mining district, with more deep mines than any other part of Cornwall. Her father, James, worked underground, and Tammy grew up to know poverty and hardship. According to records, her mother, whose name was also Thomasine, sought relief from the parish on a number of occasions. By 1830, then in her late 20s, Tammy had married Richard Bligh, a stonemason, and borne him 3 children. Only one child, a son christened William, survived beyond childhood. Cholera and typhoid epidemics periodically swept the duchy, and in 1832, Richard Bligh contracted and died of typhus. It was about this time that Tammy Bligh, or Tammy Blee as she commonly became known, began to practice as a conjurer. For centuries across races and creeds, a similar term was used to describe cunning folk, the wise ones, those who were practiced in the supernatural arts. The cunning folk, the white witches or pellars to use the Cornish term, were widely consulted and could provide a range of services, from lifting curses and undoing the maleficia of other witches to offering cures, charms and divination.
If you had to make a choice, it would be wise woman. And there's a couple of reasons for that. As I found out for myself when I became a wise woman eventually. The witch appellation is more sensationalist, and it's what the general person who knows no better will call someone that does that sort of work. Appella is very specific, and usually you find, particularly in Cornwall, is specific to families and qualities and skills. So it could be specific to, say, walk charming or bone setting. Wise woman, you're like a GP. You have to be able to put your hand to anything, depending on what your clients want. And certainly as I'm working as a wise woman, I find that it sounds from the type of work she did, I would call her a wise woman. I'm a great believer in mind over matter, particularly when it comes to physical ailments. So if someone is convinced that I only got to wave my arms around in a certain way or say the right words and they will be better. They will be, because their mind has made up that way, in the same way as it can work in reverse.
In December 1835, the widowed Tammy Bligh married once again. James Thomas, 21 years her younger, also claimed occult powers, and together they set up business in Back Lane, Redruth. A contemporary account provides a fascinating insight into Tammy's popularity and her powers.
In consequence of various troubles and losses, I trudged to Redruth to consult Tammy Bligh. I had to wait in a lower room from morning till dusk before my turn came, so many were the applicants for the results of her supernatural wisdom. On being admitted, she said, "I know what you have come about," and then told me my initials, my wife's and son's, that I was a parish officer, and that I had livestock ill, which she described minutely and correctly. The accuracy of all her statements made my hair stand on end. She further explained that it was all the work of an ill-wisher. She guarded me from their power with a written paper hung around my neck, and for the cattle she gave me powders to be rubbed into their bodies. This have I done, and find them already improving. I as much believe in the power of the old lady as in the truth of any of the Gospels.
By 1841, her reputation had spread far and wide, and she and James moved to the bustling town of Helston. Her powers now encompassed divination, healing, distance healing, the removal of spells, herbal law, and even necromancy, though the renowned Cornish folklorist William Botterill's account of Tammy's attempt to raise the dead casts a shadow over some of her claims. A local old woman of moderate wealth had died without leaving a will, and a close relative, named as Robin, appealed to Tammy to raise the dead woman from her grave so that he might quiz her. The wise woman advised, "You must know that it is a dreadful thing to undertake." A few days later, as nightfall descended, Tammy arrived with Robin at the graveside and began to summon the spirit. Botterill described the scene. The witch, stretching out her arms, her red cloak and grey hair streaming back in the wind, pointed with her staff towards the place where these frightful sounds proceeded and said, "Behold, it cometh, be thou prepared." A hideous figure in a shroud appeared, which so threatened the relative that he struck out, and was astounded when the ghostly figure fell to the ground, and bereft of its shroud was revealed to be James Thomas, Tammy's husband. The couple begged the relative not to reveal their scheme, but suggested that he tell his friends and family that the dead woman had indeed been raised and sought repayment for her kindnesses in life. This he agreed, and within days the story of the night's necromancy was the talk of the neighbourhood. Shortly, Robin was surprised to find sums of money being deposited outside his house from people who had borrowed from the dead woman in her past. Botterill's story tells us that a few months afterwards, when repair work was being done to the dead woman's cottage, the will and some treasure were found hidden in the thatch. Thomasine Bligh, Tammy Bligh, died at her house in Coinage Hall Street on the 6th of October 1856 and was buried in the churchyard of Helston Parish Church a few days later. On the day of her interment, the sky darkened and a huge storm swept across Cornwall, causing devastating floods and damage. Local legend has it that it was a salute from the devil to the late Witch of Helston. Her last resting place is unmarked and forgotten, the ways of the cunning folk superseded by modern medicine. But a century and a half later, the skilled folk remedies and holistic cures of the wise woman that held sway for generations are now being reassessed, and Tammy Bligh's reputation as one of the most gifted wise women in the West is again being recognised.
All along the north coast of Cornwall, there's a massive variety of things to do for people. Obviously in the sea, which it's famous for, and its beautiful beaches. Obviously we recommend always swim at a life-guarded beach. Also on the land, you've got the beautiful coast paths, you've got lovely little fishing ports to visit, you've got lovely eateries, nice little local pubs and fine dining restaurants and all sorts of things you can do up and down the north coast. It's a beautiful area of the country.
So rugged, it's so spectacular. I mean, Cornwall itself is awesome. It's surrounded by coastline, and it's different on the south coast to what we have here. We have sort of larger swell here that makes a completely different look. We're straight out onto the Atlantic, which brings in some amazing creatures.
We certainly have a lot of fabulous scenery. The ability to literally walk out of your front door and be on a cliff top looking at the ocean is pretty much amazing. Yeah, it's a pretty good lifestyle.
When I moved down here, it literally was Rick Stein and a restaurant round the corner. But to see how it's grown with, you know, Nathan Outlaw, even 15 on Watergate Bay, I mean, it's just this lovely area of food, and everyone's just, you know, really up their game and doing a great job. And to have these great restaurants all in one area, I think that's what makes it so popular.
Something here for everybody, whether you be a family with young children, older children, a couple just looking to walk the coast path, just read a book and look at the view. There's just absolutely something for everyone.
I draw my inspiration from the southwest coast path. The views up there are spectacular. It's dramatic and stunning. The colour, the strata of the rocks, and the sea when the sun's playing on it is just absolutely spectacular.
Here at the Financial Advice Centre, we pride ourselves on the unbiased independent financial advice we give. The business has core values of honesty, integrity and clarity in all that we do. Our advisors are office-based throughout Cornwall, and you can be certain of excellent customer service at all times. For all your wealth management, portfolio management, financial planning, retirement planning, mortgage and protection needs, call the Financial Advice Centre for your free initial consultation on 01726 814 935 or visit www.facgroup.co.uk.
Our 4 fabulous cruises departing from Falmouth are now even better value with our buy one get one half price offer on all cabin grades. Choose from 10 days cruising south to the sun departing on the 22nd of April, now from only £675 per person. Our 11-day cruise to the beautiful Norwegian Forwards on the 1st of May from just £712 per person. If you fancy some sunshine, how about our 13 days cruise departing on the 11th of August, calling in at Madeira and the Canary Islands, now from £750 per person. Or for something a little different, our 9-day cruise departing from Falmouth to visit the beautiful coastline and gardens of France, northern Spain and the Scillies, and arriving back into Falmouth during the weekend of the spectacular Tall Ships Regatta festivities. And to make these holidays even better value, free car parking in Falmouth and all on-board gratuities are included in the price. Prices quoted are based on 2 people travelling with our buy one get one half price offer. Call into any branch of Newell's Travel or phone us free on 0800 652 3452 for more details or to book your cabin.
Looking for a home maintenance company you can trust? Ocean now provides a whole range of expert maintenance services, from heating, electrics and plumbing to refurbishment and roofing. And thanks to our 24-hour emergency call-out service, you're always covered. Ocean, we do more than you think. To find out more, call St Austell 874488 today or visit www.morethanyoutthink.co.uk. FAC Property Consultants and Lettings Agents. We are a Cornish family-run property business with a thriving lettings and estate agency. We have a variety of incentives if you're a first-time landlord or an experienced landlord with multiple properties. If you're looking to sell your property, we have a limited offer to sell your property for 1% plus VAT. Give our experienced specialist team a call on St Austell 812271 or Bodmin 264 686.
Located just 1 mile from Cornwall's famous Eden project and set in 5 acres of its own private, quiet grounds, Boscundle Manor is a family-run boutique-style hotel set in a wonderful oasis in which to relax and unwind. Recently rated the most romantic hotel in Cornwall on TripAdvisor, Boscundle Manor is the ideal base to enjoy the sights and sounds of our beautiful county.
Just imagine stepping into your very own warm, bubbling oasis after a long day to soothe away those aches, pains and stresses of everyday life. Cornish Hot Tubs have over 100 spas to choose from and have an experienced sales and service team to make your dream a reality. Let Cornish Hot Tubs help you relax, unwind and enjoy life with a little luxury in your back garden.
Thursday the 15th of May saw a visit from the Chancellor, George Osborne, in Cornwall, and during his visit we caught up with him at St Austell Brewery to ask him what was the purpose of his visit.
This is tribute, Rob? Yep, that's all. I'll probably be wrong. Proper job. There you go. That shows you who's really brilliant there.
I'm in Cornwall to see what we can do to support the Cornish economy, create good jobs here, make sure we're investing in the roads and the railways here. And I wanted to come to this famous brewery, see for myself what a fantastic job they do. And I've been hugely impressed. And you know, the great thing is also it's not just a great product, a great Cornish product, it's also creating new jobs here, new apprentices here. It's exactly the kind of thing we want to see more.
Yeah, we had a big project in here about 2 years ago. This is the original 1893 greenhouse. The equipment in here was...
And how can you say you worked with that?
We worked with that for 100 years. With the output of the brewery increasing, we're really faced with some choices. It's what we wanted to do. Yeah. We're very keen on the history and the heritage. We've got history and heritage, that's something we're proud of. We're equally a modern and commercial business with a view to the future, so we needed some new kit.
Very, very pleased that George was willing to come and visit St Austell, this great business here right at the heart of the town, St Austell Brewery. As you know, one of my priorities is we need to grow the local economy to get better paid jobs into mid-Cornwall, and delighted that George has come here to hear that message, and he's been very supportive about what we can do to deliver for Cornwall.
Can't see the faces. Can't see the faces. Can't see you guys. Can you go to the sack?
There we go.
Sack in. Sack in. That's it. Lovely. This way.
Not bring the sack in. No, that wouldn't. Not a good
go to the sack. That's it.
Well, it's been a very exciting visit, and of course I took the opportunity to thank him for the second beer duty cut in the March budget, and naturally encouraged him to make it a hat-trick next March prior to the election. So yeah, very good day. He was a very nice chap. He was very easy to get on with and chatted to everyone, and yeah, very nice, memorable day.
Very good. All I can see is your hand in front of the face, so if you could go slightly sideways up. Okay. And looking this way, guys, beautiful.
What was his comments on his tasting of the tribute up there?
He wished he could stay and finish the pint, I think is the best way to describe it. He couldn't have picked a better day to come and visit us. It's blue sky and sunshine, as you can see, and it's a beer drinking day, so he very much enjoyed a little tipple before he went, but he's taken away a couple of bottles of proper job as well to enjoy this weekend, so we hope he does, and we very much enjoyed hosting him.
So we've got David Cameron with a pint of tribute in his hand.
Yes.
We've got George Osborne.
Yes.
With a pint of, who's next?
Well, I don't know. We've been very lucky to host them both. David Cameron did a David Cameron Direct here before he became Prime Minister, and now we've had the Chancellor as well. So yes, my very privileged to have some very important guests in my office. So I'm not sure who's next, but with a year to go for the election, who knows? We're very welcome and host every and any politician. They're always very welcome here.
This is a fermenting beer at the minute. We do gravities to check how far along the fermentation's going. So if you want to do one, So what I have to do?
Just dip the pan in, hold it under the beer for a bit, you'll feel the level.
The secret is not to let go.
Bang it against the side a couple of times, and then we'll put a saffron in it.
Like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Very good, he's done it before.
Right. Just hang that hook on over the door.
Like that.
Alright. Now what do we do then?
Just put the saccharometer in the sample pan, and then it'll give you a reading.
If you was to have any visitor here that hasn't been here before, who would you like to come through the doors?
Well, I've extended an invite. There was a very big photograph of Nigel Farage with a pint of proper job, and he's obviously a great fan of our beers as well. So being very politically neutral, the company, we welcome everybody from every party, and so if he was ever passing this way, he'd be very welcome as well.
Get it pretty soon. We want to blow the flame off the top.
What one's this?
George Osborne wasn't the only government minister in Cornwall on the 15th of May. Ed Vaizey, who is Minister for Culture, Communications and Creative Industries, met with Nuco Training in Trevisco.
So Cornwall is absolutely the frontier of our rural broadband rollout, and it is ahead of the queue. It's probably the best connected part of Europe in rural terms. It may well be the best connected rural area in the world. There are people now getting speeds of 40 megabits and above in very rural areas, and by the end of this year, roughly 9 in 10 of households will be able to access what we call superfast broadband, which speeds of 24 megs, and that's pretty fast broadband. And I've been meeting Nuco here and lots of other businesses who have really benefited and turned their businesses, really grown their businesses on the back of broadband.
Yeah, I was delighted that Ed came to visit us here in Trevisco today, because here at Nuco Training we've got an example of the type of thing I believe we need to see replicated right across mid-Cornwall, which is a business based in the rural part of the area, but because of the connection through superfast, is able to really punch above its weight and have a national presence and growing an international presence, providing services that people want and providing employment right across the country. And this is what we need to see more of in St Austell and Newquay, local businesses that really provide employment for local people here by providing a service across the whole country. And I'm delighted that Ed was able to come and see what's going on here, and what a great example this is of what Cornwall is doing and right at the forefront nationally.
We're all watching the Cornwall Channel, heave-away, haul-away. We're all watching the Cornwall Channel, we're bound for Sky TV. Fantastic.
Love that, that's awesome. Thank you so much.
You don't get Rick Stein to do that.
Looking at the bottom of a pint glass, and I'm watching my money, well it's draining fast, but I don't mind, I don't mind at all. And I'm so happy cause I feel so good, but the sun keeps shining on my neighborhood, cause I got a woman, ooh, she looks so fine, and she's so good to me. Open up my eyes so I can see how good, ooh, life can be. Looking at the past mistakes I made, like a knotted rope with the ends frayed, but I don't mind, I don't mind at all. And I know sometimes I can be wrong, and I don't mind saying that my back is long, but I got a woman, ooh, she looks so fine. Open up my eyes so I can see how good, ooh, life can be. Just like a flower, like the sun, it shines so bright in the darkest hour. And she's so good to me. Open up my eyes so I can see how good, ooh, life can be. Oh, I could kiss you 1,000 times, so hard that you get open up my eyes so I can see how good, ooh, life can be. And she's so good to me. Open up my eyes so I can see how good, ooh, life can be.
Thank you for watching this week's Cornwall channel. We would love to hear from you, your thoughts and ideas for future Cornish programmes. This dedicated weekly channel for Cornwall on Sky and Freesat aims to deliver information and local programmes. If you have any news you think we should cover, then please get in touch using our website at cornwallchannel.co.uk or via our Facebook and Twitter pages. See you next week.